So Jake Young has today been recalled from his season-long loan with Swindon Town, and in today's video I will bring you guys my thoughts and opinions on this news. If you do go on to enjoy, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 80 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We're on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below. Bradford fans, Swindon fans, let me know down below your thoughts on what does this potentially mean for Swindon Town. They obviously lost Dan Kemp and Jake Young on the same day. I think for me personally, they're in a lot of trouble. They were already in a lot of trouble with their two best players at the club. Now they have both been recalled by their parent clubs. I really do think Swindon could be in for a very, very horrible second half of the season because of their owner and the lack of funding really at Swindon Town. I do think they could be in a lot of trouble at the moment. In my opinion, I do think Dan Kemp will be a bigger loss than Jake Young. I think Dan Kemp is absolutely exceptional. I think he's one of the best in the league, but there's no denying that Jake Young's 20 goal contributions so far this season in the league have massively boosted them so far this season, and obviously it's great to have him back at Bradford City. I think there's a common misconception with the Swindon fans that he wasn't wanted at Bradford City or the fans didn't like him, which is simply not true. You know, me personally, I was a big fan of Jake Young. It was clear to see that Mark Hughes didn't rate Jake Young for whatever reason. There was maybe some sort of a fallout, maybe he didn't track back enough, whatever, but if you're going to play a striker as a basically defensive minded winger, then there's no surprise that he's not going to suit that system very well. It's like Mark Hughes tried to do the same thing with Tyler Smith at the start of the season, and surprise, Tyler Smith didn't score goals. Since Graham Alexander started playing him as a striker, he started scoring goals, and obviously it's great for us to have some competition. You saw Matt Derbyshire come off the bench yesterday for Bradford City and he was absolutely awful, so it's great to see that now we're going to have some real competition for them places. We've got a lot of strikers as well on the books at the moment. Now obviously he comes straight into contention for Saturday's game against Crawley, but does that necessarily mean he comes straight in and starts? For me personally, probably, because I think Tyler Smith has been quite poor over the last couple of matches, hasn't really contributed much against Mottram, Stockport or Crewe in his last few matches. I think he's been subbed off in every single one of those, and you look at some of our other options up there and no one's really having much of an impact apart from Andy Cook really, but because he's got such a big goal threat, all the defenders try and go around him. I think Smith is a little bit weak. Oliver hasn't really provided much goal threat so far, and I think he has been a good option off the bench. I think Jake Young is certainly someone who can score a goal out of nothing. You know, we've seen so far this season for Swindon, his range of goals that he scored is absolutely brilliant. He's got such a wide category and such a brilliant variety of finishes. It's absolutely exceptional to see. But make sure to drop a like on there for me, subscribe if you are new as well, and let's go read the statements. Now since Graham Alexander has come in really, we all kind of knew Jake Young will probably be coming back to Bradford City. Graham Alexander respected Swindon Town and didn't really come out and say anything publicly, but he did confirm after yesterday's game. Michael Flynn also did the same thing, that Bradford City would be recalling Jake Young, and it was officially confirmed at 9 o'clock today when Bradford City tweeted saying, "We have activated a recall clause in Jake Young's loan agreement with Swindon Town with immediate effect." The article does then read, "Jake Young recalled. Bradford City AFC have activated a recall clause in Jake Young's loan agreement with Swindon Town with immediate effect. The forward, who initially moved to the Robins on loan in August, has netted 16 Sky Bet League 2 goals so far this season. He's set to return to training with his teammates at Woodhouse Grove this week and comes into contention for Saturday's visit of Crawley Town." Obviously that is a 3 o'clock kickoff. Swindon also tweeted saying, "News, Jake Young has been recalled by Bradford. Everyone at Swindon Town would like to thank Jake for his efforts and wish him well in the future." Now they actually did some sort of like leaving video, which I thought was a little bit bizarre. You know, he has only been there 5 months, and while he has had a good start to the season, that's normally something you do to a player who's been there 3, 4, 5, 6 years, not someone who's been on loan for 5 months or so. But their article does read, "Bradford recall Jake Young. Forward's loan move, comes to an end." Bradford City have recalled forward Jake Young from his loan spell at Swindon Town. The 22-year-old made 25 appearances during his time with Town and scored 16 goals during this time. His last outing came in yesterday's New Year's Day trip to Crawley Town. Young impressed during his time with the club, earning 2 EFL Player of the Month awards during his temporary stay. Everyone at Swindon Town would like to thank Jake for his contribution during the first half of the season and wish him well for the future. Now, like I say, he has had a very, very good start to the season. So far for them, he's played 25 matches, starting 22 of them, averaging 78 minutes per game. He's featured in the team of the week on 3 occasions. He scored 16 goals, averaging a goal every 123 minutes. He has missed 10 big chances, but he does have a 22% goal conversion rate, which I think is quite good in my opinion. If you compare that to the likes of Tyler Smith, he's played 24 matches so far this season, just the 13 starts, but he has netted the 3 league goals, averaging a league goal every 394 minutes. As we know, Tyler Smith, I think, has got 6 goals in the EFL Trophy, 1 in the EFL Cup, but not so many so far in the league. He has missed 4 big chances with only a 9% goal conversion rate in the league. And finally, we'll have a quick comparison with Andy Cook, who is obviously our biggest goal threat, but I think Tyler Smith is the more likely one of the two who he will replace. I'd be very surprised to see if we ever led the line with Jake Young and Tyler Smith if both Andy Cook and Verdane Oliver were fit. But Cook has played 22 matches so far this season, starting all 22, averaging 87 minutes per game. He's scored 10 goals, averaging a goal every 192 minutes, missing 7 big chances with only a 12% goal conversion rate. So Young might potentially miss a little bit more big chances, but he has a much better goals per minute ratio, and he has a much better goals conversion percentage, which I think is very, very important, because we saw even last season in the limited game time that Jake Young had under Mike Hughes before he was bizarrely frozen out of the squad, he can certainly score goals at this level, and I am really, really excited to see what he can do now in a Bradford City shirt. I hope it's not a very similar situation to the Owen Doyle one, where we send him out on loan to Swindon, he scores a boatload of goals there, we recall him for 2 or 3 weeks, he fails to hit the back of the net, he looks absolutely awful, goes to Swindon for the second half of the season on a permanent for very, very cheap, and ends up scoring a load more goals there. So we need to get the best out of Jake Young. Is Graham Alexander the manager to do so? I do have some question marks about that, to be honest with you, because I think Alexander and Flynn's style of play is very, very contrasting, but you look at Flynn and Mark Hughes, they were very similar, and they got kind of the best out of Jake Young in the limited game time that he did have, but obviously he's had that 5 months under his belt. He had a little bit of experience last season under Mark Hughes and then Pete Wild at Barrow. He's had a number of different managers now, but can Jake Young adapt to Graham Alexander's system? I'm not sure. It is very long ball, it is very direct, and he's going to be picking up off of scraps and second pieces really, because it's very rare that you see us get the ball down on the floor, you know, try and work it into a wide area, because I think Jake Young's best position is as a left striker, coming in and cutting in on that right foot, and he can definitely, you know, score goals on his left foot. He can score headers as well, which I think is important, because he's 6'1", but he's very rapid. We don't really have many fast players in this team. In terms of how the squad is actually looking at this moment in time, we've got a lot of bodies. You know, we've now added another one added to that as well. We've got Timo Adesina returning in the next week or so as well, I do believe. But you look at our striking options, Matt Derbyshire needs to move on. That is an absolute minimum. Dylan Yumby is going to be out on loan with Farsley for the remainder of the season. Potentially Verdane Oliver might move on, because I've seen has been linked with Harry Smith of Sutton United, apparently also Mansfield and Forest Green Rovers are interested. I think that would be a pretty decent signing. He's much younger than Verdane Oliver. I think he would probably cost a lot less in wages as well, and Oliver hasn't exactly impressed so far, but we've got 5 natural wingers at the football club, and we're not playing with wingers, so maybe someone like an Adam Wilson maybe moves out on loan. Bobby Poynton might move out on loan as well. Harry Chapman could go on a permanent basis. Tulloch and Afoka will probably return from their loan spells with Aston Villa and West Brom respectively. You look at our defensive options, I don't think Liam Rideout is good enough in my opinion. Daniel Ugoke is going to be out for a number of months with that shoulder injury. Osadibe, not good enough. McDonald struggling for game time as well, so there could certainly be a lot of movement to come in January, apart from obviously this loan move being recalled. And it's great to see Jake Young back at the club. You know, if this was another team striker and we'd signed him, we'd paid 200, 300, 400 grand for him, you'd be absolutely buzzing to get someone of Jake Young's calibre in. So 20 goal contributions so far this season, we definitely can't turn our noses up at that. If he does play in the game against Crawley, then he can either only play for Bradford or Swindon, and I don't think Swindon have 300, 400, 500 grand maybe to cough up for that. Now you look at how much Jake Young should be valued at. I think with the position we're in, he's got the rest of this season and another year left on his contract, plus the option then of a further year. We're in a very, very good position. The ball is certainly in Bradford City's court. I don't think Swindon will have the money to cough up for that. So if Jake Young plays even a second against Crawley, then he pretty much guaranteed that he's going to be ours to keep for the remainder of the season and beyond after that. And if he comes back to Bradford, scores another 10, 15 goals, I think that'd be a really, really good second half of the season for him. He ends it on potentially 30 goals. With the form Andy Cook's in, he could certainly hit 30 goals as well. We'll just have to wait and see how the second half of the season does pan out, because it certainly looks promising, despite a really, really poor result yesterday. And there will be a 6 Things We Learnt video coming out later on tonight. it was a poor result yesterday, but I think when you've got the boost now of Jacob coming back in there, Jamie Walker should hopefully be back fit very soon, because he's been a big miss for us over the last 3 matches. No coincidence that when we went on that 6-game winning run, as soon as Jamie Walker got injured, we then haven't won for 3 matches as soon as that's happened, because he's a very, very key player for us, especially in this current system. My overall thoughts then, obviously delighted to have him back at the football club. I think, like Jake Young said a number of times, one man's opinion doesn't define everybody's opinion, and Jake Young is clearly a very, very talented player at this level. He's young, literally, you know, 22 years of age, lots of room for him still to grow and develop. I think Alexander could potentially get the best out of Jake Young as well. I think we are now going to see a number of departures, and whatever transfer business does happen, I will bring you guys my thoughts on that as soon as it does happen. But I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 80 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you are new as well. We are now on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed. If you haven't already, with that post notification bell on, it's free to do so, and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below your thoughts on Bradford City recalling Jake Young from his season-long loan with Swindon Town. Thank you all very much for watching today's video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all later for the 6 things we learned from yesterday's 1-0 defeat against Crewe Alexandra. Peace.